You're so uncomfortable. Take 3. Here we go. Can you just say holy moly and not make me feel like a certain type of way in my stomach?
Yes. Holy moly.
Episode 9. Here we are.
One of these days, we'll get it in one take.
Yeah, post-processing saves us time and time again.
Okay.
So, we're on chapter 25.
Good evening, Joseph. We're on chapter 26.
Oh, yes, last week we did chapter 25. Yeah, we're on 26 this week.
Embarrassing.
Yeah. Hey, Einstein, my favorite quote to date from Einstein was, "Do not spend the energy memorizing things that can be looked up." I say this 3 times a day when I have to go look up something that I should know.
For your job.
Yeah.
And hired your brain. You're like, oh man, I gotta Google this.
Yep. So tell us what happened in chapter 25, since we're on the topic.
Right. In short, chapter 25.
Or take your time. You can do it long.
Short.
Whatever it takes, it takes. Give us a summary.
In short.
Why do you have to condense it?
In average.
We're going back through 25.
Okay. In chapter 25, we learned of the death of Abraham and Ishmael, as well as
the humanity,
as well as the birth of Jacob and Esau, and the purchase of the most expensive bowl of stew in history.
Yes, it cost Esau his birthright for the redhead stew.
Yep.
Red stew.
Nasty.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We can go into more detail with that if you'd like, but I just kind of like...
Yeah, that was cut fast and dirty. Like, Abraham died, Isaac got married, or... No, that already happened. We read about Isaac and Esau and Jacob, blah, blah, blah.
So you want me to go into more detail?
I mean, explain it to me. You think I remember this stuff?
Yeah, so Abraham died. He was 175, and his son Ishmael, which we remember was born to Hagar. I always almost say Hagrid. Hagar. He was kind of young, I feel, for his age. So he's dead. We learned, that Isaac and Rebecca have babies after a long time where she wasn't able to have babies, and we also find out
Ishmael didn't die.
Yes, he did.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
You want to go back?
I don't remember Ishmael dying.
He's dead as
Where does it say Ishmael died?
Literally in the beginning. Go look it up, Einstein.
I'm looking at it. Genesis 25. It says Abraham took another wife. Which, I mean, you skipped that part in your summary. Because I think that's kind of a big deal. Abraham was getting it right before he died.
Yeah, and it's hearsay on if we think she was a concubine. Anyway, go find Ishmael being dead AF because he's dead.
No, it said that she was a concubine. Yeah, because it says after that Abraham died and he gave all he had to Isaac, and gave gifts to the sons of the concubines. Abraham lived 107. Abraham breathed his last years. Isaac and Ishmael buried him in a cave of Machpelah, which is before Mamre. It's the land that Abraham bought, and they buried him next to Sarah. Where did Ishmael die?
Keep going.
You want to read the whole thing?
Skim until you find it. He died, yo.
Why aren't you skimming? Because I don't know. I don't see where he died. Oh, never mind. Yeah, it gives you the whole genealogy of Ishmael, or the sons of Ishmael. And it said, these were the years of Ishmael, 137. So, I mean, no, he didn't die right then and there. He didn't die like around the time of Abraham, because Ishmael died at 137. They're just letting you know. I can't hear you. It cut out.
They were brothers, and they were kind of like close in age. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of young.
Ishmael and Abraham?
And Isaac.
Yeah, Ishmael's older than Isaac.
Yes, we kind of. I mean, yeah. Moral of the story is he died. Kind of sad. They were kind of brothers.
Kind of. Anyway, he didn't really die
Anyway.
here. They just kind of told you he'll die when he's 147. Because the story continues. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so then we find out that Rebecca's pregnant, and we
Woo.
know that it's twins, but she doesn't until they're born.
She knows that she has two
And
nations in her belly.
yeah, she does know that.
She's
The
like, how many
ones
people
being
are in there?
Jacob, and Jacob was. I think Jacob was the one that meant like holding the foot or something, and then Esau was like hairy. That's what
Yeah.
their names meant. And like they like we kind of find out that they're gonna be trouble for each other, and they do end up being trouble for each other because
Jacob's being a Jew.
yeah, and just like sells his birthright for some
No,
soup.
Jacob conned his brother out of his birthright.
Oh, yeah, opposites.
Yeah. And
Yep.
Esau was like, birthright? I'll take that for some soup.
Yes, he was so hungry.
Yeah.
So,
So
so
now we're
yeah.
on chapter 26.
Yep, chapter 26.
So we're jumping in with Isaac and Abimelech. So,
Would you
we know
like to read?
would I like to read?
Or would you like me to read?
I can read. This is breaking ground. I think I've had the woman read the entire time.
Yeah, I like reading. It's fun.
Yeah. It's woman's work.
If you would.
Isaac and Abimelech. There was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. Then the Lord appeared to him and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land which I shall tell you. Dwell in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and your descendants I give all these lands, and I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. And I will make your descendants multiply as the stars of heaven. I will give to your descendants all these lands, and in all your seeds all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So Isaac dwelt in Gerar, and the men of the place asked about his wife, and he said, she is my sister. For he was afraid to say, she is my wife, because he thought, lest the men of this place kill me for Rebekah, because she is so beautiful to behold. Now it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked through a window and saw, and there was Isaac, showing endearment to Rebekah, his wife. Then Abimelech said to Isaac, or called Isaac, and said, quite obviously she is your wife, so how could you say she is your sister? Isaac said to him, because I said, lest I die on account of her. And Abimelech said, what is this you have done to us? One of the people might soon have lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us. So Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he who touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in that land, and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. The man began to prosper, and continued prospering until he became very prosperous, for he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds, and a great number of servants. So the Philistines envied him. Now the Philistines had stopped up the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham, his father, and they filled them with earth. And Abimelech said to Isaac, go away from us, for you are much mightier than we. Then Isaac departed from there and pitched his tent in the great valley of Gerar, and dwelt there. And Isaac dug again the wells of the water which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. He called them by the names which his father had called them. Also Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found a well of running water there. But the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, "The water is ours." So he called the name of the well Esek, because they quarreled with him. And they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one also. So he called its name Sitnah. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over it. So he called its name Rehoboth, because he said, "For now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." Then he went up from there to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared to him in the same night and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your descendants for my servant Abraham's sake." So he built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord, and he pitched his tent there. And there Isaac's servants dug a well. Then Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzeth, one of his friends, and Phicol, the commander of his army. And Isaac said to them, "Why have you come to me, since you hate me and have sent me away from you?" But they said, "We have certainly seen that the Lord is with you." So we said, "Let there now be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no harm, since we have not touched you, and since we have done nothing to you but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of the Lord." So he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. Then they arose early in the morning and swore an oath with one another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. It came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." So he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. When Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they were a grief of mind to Isaac and Rebekah.
Really nice.
That was a fairly short chapter. It's a little mouthful.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
The first thing that we should notice about it is I think it kind of goes back in time a little bit. Like, I think this is before Esau and Jacob, and then this last two verses, like, flashes back forward. And it's like, bam, Esau is now married to these two women.
Yeah, it's like the same timeline as the beginning of the other chapter. It's like the beginning of the chapters kind of line up. And then, like, last chapter, Abraham died and they did the whole funeral thing, and then it kind of skipped ahead a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I think, Jacob and Esau are probably kids at this point. Isaac is in the same land that he was initially. Let's see. So there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Abimelech, the king of the Philistines, in Gerar. So there's a new famine happening in Gerar, which I guess is in Canaan. I don't know. I'd be interested to get a map going too. Maybe along with like the little scroll picture. Maybe we can keep a map going.
That'd be cool. It definitely, I feel like it definitely is in Canaan because that's where he is supposed to stay.
Yeah, it's where it was supposed to be. It's where he just buried his dad. But he said the first famine that was this is besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And that one was, I think that famine, I don't remember if God told Abraham it was going to happen, so Abraham went down to Egypt, or the famine happened and then Abraham went down to Egypt. But like that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a famine in Abraham's day that made him leave this land, and he went down to Egypt.
Yeah. Because in the next part, the Lord tells him and says, "Do not go down to Egypt."
Yeah, don't do what Abraham did and go down to Egypt. Live in the land of which I shall tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, "Dwell in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and your descendants I give all these lands, and I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham your father." So
Mm-hmm.
God is now reminding Isaac that he has an oath with Abraham, and he's going to keep right on it,
Yep.
protect him in this land, um, because his lineage is like the chosen group of people.
Right. And we're gonna get to that.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
only reason I remembered it was that verse there. It says, "Do not go down to Egypt." I'm like, famine, Egypt. When did that happen?
Yeah, I didn't even remember that he went down to Egypt, but
Yeah, very
Midian.
parallel stories. That's why I think God had to tell um, Isaac explicitly, because it's like Isaac sees this is happening. It's like, oh, the last time this happened, my dad told me they went down to Egypt, and
Yeah.
he pulled the whole "my wife is my sister" stunt, and it worked flawlessly
Mhm.
because he got rich from it. And then look what
Yeah.
happens here.
Yeah, this is parallel to Genesis 12 and 20 and 21.
Oh, so
So if
you already looked all this stuff up.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
So God tells him to stay put. He's gonna take care of him. And where are we at? Verse 4, I will make
Hmm.
your descendants multiply as the stars of the heaven, blah, 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 all this land, all your seeds, everything's blessed because Abraham. Uh, and it says in verse 5, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So it shows Abraham is being a good Jew,
Hmm.
listening to God, um, because I don't want to get in the whole like salvation thing again, being my whole ramble about faith based salvation and works based, but like in this time period, it seems pretty abundantly clear. It's like you have your works define your salvation,
Hmm.
and God's willingness to help you, I guess, is more
Yeah,
based on your works.
yeah. So
Um,
his like Abraham's obedience to the Lord is like in part the reason why like Isaac is like gonna be well off now with the Lord. So he has his father to thank for show.
yeah,
He put in that work.
yeah, yeah. Like you said, it's in part too. Part of it is obviously read all the stories. Abraham wasn't, such a great guy sometimes. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, the beginning of last chapter was like telling you how many concubines he had. Like, he had a handful of them.
Well, in this time, I was looking at the end because of how we saw it says like Esau has two wives or whatever. Like it wasn't a sin in this day to have more than one wife and
Was it not a
mother.
sin, or was it just more culturally acceptable?
Probably more culturally acceptable.
Yeah, it's
Both
one of the ones
though.
they'd probably let slide.
Yeah, but now like cuz now it's a sin to like commit adultery and that's all. Like, I feel like having two wives and multiple mistresses is like in line with
Pull up the Ten Commandments, babe. Pull them up. Oh, I'm surprised you don't keep your scroll right next to you. Just like,
it's kind of like annoying having the two split screens right there, so I'd rather just do this. I shall take not take keep the Sabbath day holy. Oop, error 503.
there's
Um,
probably like a handful of actual Christians that grew up in Bible school listening. It's like, how don't you know all the Ten
I
Commandments?
know. I went to CCD, so this is bad. Honor your
That
father and your
that doesn't even
mother.
count.
You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not
You
give
shall
false
not
testimony against your
commit
neighbor.
adultery. I knew that was in there.
Yeah.
So don't cheat on your wife.
Yep. But in this day, was it's more accepted, I guess.
I would argue that in our day and age, open relationships are much more popular than they were back then. So it's not really adultery. She's just really lenient and she allows me
Fine line,
to
I
have
guess.
fun when I want to.
Cringe.
Anyway, yes, it was still a sin. So Abraham obviously wasn't perfect. Does that mean Abraham's not going to be in heaven?
No.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll get into it. We didn't get into any of the, well, none of this stuff was written yet, was it?
And we're in the first one. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Only got 1,000 pages left to read.
Oh, no, it was. I guess it wasn't. I'm getting all confused in my timeline here. I don't know the Bible that good. But anyway.
All right. Continue.
Yeah. Hang on. Am I getting all. The Ten Commandments were already. It's Moses, right?
Look it up. Einstein.
Yeah, but Moses wasn't born yet. It's like. We're supposed to just be ad-libbing, yo. Anyway, I guess Abraham's laws were different. I guess this falls into different dispensations of time. There may not have been a law.
Come back.
Yeah.
Come back to this.
Anyway, yes, we're gonna remain. Concubines are gonna be a tent pole topic here. Putting a stake in the ground. Talk about pitching tents too, a bunch of times.
That means something too. I looked it up.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Oh boy. Continue.
So
Joseph.
Isaac dwelt in Gerar, and the men of the place asked about his wife, and he said, "She is my sister." I wonder where he got that trick from. He was afraid to tell him because, oh no, they're going to kill me and take my wife. How sad it would be for me to die for my wife. Now it came to pass when he'd been there a long time. The king of the Philistines looked through a window and saw, and there was Isaac showing endearment to Rebekah, his wife. So there was no way that this was a coincidence. Abimelech didn't just look out a window and be like, "Whoa, is that Isaac down there clapping cheeks?" It's like, no, he definitely was snooping it out, or they were just being loud. And yeah. So they weren't. Yeah. So that whole plot fell through. Abimelech calls him out, and he's like, "Why'd you do this?" And Isaac's like, "Well, I don't want to die on account of her."
He's like, "But yo, we could have just done something really bad and we would have been cursed. What's wrong with you?"
Yeah, basically. So, yeah, any one of us could have lain with your wife and brought guilt on us. So, verse 11 I found interesting. It says, Abimelech charged all his people, saying, "He who touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death." So, right here, he's just laying down the law and protecting Isaac and Rebekah, which is interesting because they were being conniving. They come to this land, and Abimelech is the king of this land. They lied to him. He caught them in a lie, and then he says, "I'm going to protect you."
Well, I think this is proof for Isaac that the Lord wasn't kidding when he said that he would.
You on the side? You think the Lord had a thing to do in this?
Well, yeah, I think, and then we'll see how Abimelech's going to see it later in the chapter too, that the Lord's with him and is blessed by him. But I think this is more for Isaac, that he needs to see yeah, this guy could have totally just killed me and taken my wife because he worships to pagan gods and doesn't believe in mine. So what's going on here? So I think that was proof for him that he needs to be a little more trusting and not pull these kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably half a dozen ways you can kind of look at that. Verse 12, then Isaac sowed in that land and reaped the same year 100-fold. In the New Testament, it talks a lot about sowing and reaping, and it's good deeds and blah, blah, blah. I think this literally means like Isaac was farming, and
Yeah.
yeah, he had a good return that year, hundredfold.
But the fact that like they were in a famine and he like that much, like hundredfold's a lot, yo. And they were just like
I
everyone's
put one
starving.
potato seed in the ground and I got 100.
Yeah, so that's just another like more proof of
Yeah,
being blessed by
yeah,
God.
yeah. It says, and the Lord blessed him. So yeah, clear there that the Lord had something to do with Isaac's fruitful year. He began to
Mhm.
prosper, continued prospering until he became very prosperous. Goals. For
Mhm.
he had possessions of flocks, possessions of herds, a great number of servants. So the Philistines envied him. Ooh, the plot
No good.
thickens. So the Philistines that envy him, they stopped up all the wells which Abraham's servants had dug back in the day. So they filled them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Isaac, "Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we." So they're just like being self-destructive right now. They're like, "Oh, you see that like rich guy, the guy that's like doing so well and is so happy over there? Let's just like drive him out of the town
Mhm.
instead of learning his ways and implementing it into their own life and maybe
Well, I think
following his
that
God."
verse 16 can be taken in two ways. I wrote it down. Like maybe like he actually one way is like maybe he actually just has so many bodies and animals and whatever following him that he's like, bro, like this is too much for like my territory. Or this one's more likely is that his huge number of like servants and money and flocks and whoever and blessings of God could mean that Isaac can like conquer Abimelech and just take the territory anyway. So he's like, you gotta go, yeah. Like you can't be taken over by stuff. So I thought it could be like one of two of
I
those,
don't
but
think it's the
I believe
second
it's
one. I'm just trying to think about if I was like Abimelech and I was afraid of this guy. Like all of my people hate him because he's so successful and we're fighting through a famine. Um, Me being afraid that he's going to take over the people, I don't think is a real concern because the people already hate him. Like there's
two.
he's not gonna like he's not gonna just like create a new group of people and then steal that land from all of them,
But
right?
just his sheer like number of people of power and he has all this money, like he could easily just conquer this guy. Would you want
If
to?
that was a real fear of Abimelech, why would he raise it directly to Isaac? It's like you need to leave because you are much more powerful than we are. Because right then and there, it kind of just like if Isaac was that type of guy, it's like, oh, you're right, I am much mightier than you. Why don't you step down and spare your people?
Or why didn't he just like take him over right there when he said that? He's like, oh, you're right.
Exactly. So I don't think that's the reason. Abimelech wouldn't have said that
Could be.
like that if that was the reasoning. Um, yeah, I think it was just because they're in a famine and Abimelech's people are spending their time filling the wells of the rich guy instead of being constructive. So I think there's a bit of cultural uh, instigation happening that he's trying to avoid.
I,
Yeah. Then Isaac left, pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar. So he left Gerar and went to the valley of Gerar, and he dwelt there. And Isaac dug again the wells of water which they had dug in the days of Abraham. So he comes from well digging people. He knows how to dig a well. He dug the well. Cool. The Philistines, I guess, went out into the valley, saw he had another well, and, and stopped them up. Which I don't know why they would do that. And went out of their way to go where Isaac is now and started, arguing over the wells again.
probably didn't slow him down. It's like, stop, yo.
Yeah, so they did this twice, and then the third time, the Philistines, I guess, gave up or they put it too far away, whatever. Um, they called that well Rehoboth because no one crawled over it. It says, "For now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." So now they're set up. They've got a well. They've got their land. They're good to go. Nobody's bugging them. Then he went up there to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared to him the same night and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you. I don't know why every time the Lord shows up, he's got to be like, do not fear.
Scared?
I mean, yeah, probably. There's probably an amount of fear, right? Because I mean, think about being like 3 years old and your dad comes in and you know you've been a bad boy, and it's like, I wonder if mom told him that, you know, I pooped in the backyard. It's like, of course she told him, and like you know it's coming, so you're like, when dad walks in the room, you're like, oh. He's like, do not fear, boy. It is great fertilization. Everything for the glory of the lawn. Just told a childhood story there.
I knew it.
Yeah. That's probably kind of the energy you'd get. Or he's just terrifying to look at.
Or it's like, I mean, you get scared when you hear something in the bushes outside. Like, imagine the
No, I don't.
sky is opening and it's like screaming at you.
Yeah, it never. Yeah, we don't get an idea or a picture of how the Lord appeared to him. So I'm with you. I bless you and you multiply your descendants for my servant Abraham's sake. So he built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord and pitched his tent there. And there Isaac's servants dug a well. So, cool. Yeah, Isaac's going to have some kind of complex for sure. Like, there's no way he can live up to his dad's glory.
I don't.
It's like,
Yeah, I think he's had some good character in him this far. I mean, he just got kicked out of places like 3 times and didn't even put up a fight.
I think Isaac's batting 1,000. I'm a fan of Isaac,
Me
but
too.
yeah, I haven't heard anything bad or like worries. I mean, he did just like out his wife as his sister, and
I mean, that was like true fear. Like,
nah, my wife's too pretty. I don't want to die for her. Shut up, bro.
it's like the opposite of a simp.
Nah, that's what a simp would do.
Anti-simp.
I don't even know. I don't. Yeah, incel. But yeah, even like every time he talks to God, God reminds him, I'm doing this because of your father Abraham. Abraham's good works is what's sparing you. I'm protecting you because you're Abraham's son.
He's riding off that inheritance.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know.
This is Holy Day inheritance. This is like trust fund, kid.
Another holiday? So yeah, he built the Lord an altar. Lord didn't tell him to do that, but he did. Then Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzeth, one of his friends, and Phicol, the commander of his army. And Isaac said to them, why have you come to me, since you hate me and have sent me away from you? That's a top G move right there. Why'd you come here? You hate me. You sent me away. Why are you here? But they said, we certainly see that the Lord is with you. So we said, let there now be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no harm, since we have not touched you, and since we have done nothing to you but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now blessed by the Lord. You are now the blessed of the Lord. Haram?
Haram? He is.
Yeah. It does seem like he was really scared of getting overthrown now that I'm reading this part again. But like,
I think he's scared because he notices like how the Lord is with Isaac, and he's like, "Oh
yeah,
my
and
goodness!"
he completely overlooks like all of his people just filling in their wells. It's like this is people's water supply. Like, it's like, yeah, you know, we never did nothing but good to you. We sent you away in peace. We didn't like, you know, pitchfork you or nothing.
Foul no harm.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
So Isaac got Rebekah to make him a feast, and they ate and drank. They arose early in the morning, swore the oath. I guess oaths are a morning thing. It's like, yeah, I'll swear the oath, but let's just wait till the morning. Let's sleep on
Really
it. Let's get some food. We'll do it in the morning. What a Jew thing to do.
cute.
Yeah.
Sleepy stuff.
I'll do it in the morning.
No, I forget we even said that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, our one fan will catch it though. Let
Yep.
us know if you catch it.
Yeah, all of our anti Semitic fans at this point. People don't know how to take a joke. They think we're serious.
To any and all future employers, just kidding.
We don't need no future employers. We're raking in the YouTube money. When can we monetize again? Anyway, verse 32.
Continue.
It came to
Continue.
pass that the same day of Isaac's servants came and told him about which they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." So he called it Sheba. And whoa, yeah, okay, never mind. That's where it's supposed to be. Therefore, the name of the city is called Beersheba to this day. So that place in the valley of Gerar, is called Beersheba now because they found water there. Cool.
Yup.
Now we're jumping. When Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they were the grief of the mind to Isaac and Rebekah.
Mm.
Because obviously you got to keep it in the family.
But makes you wonder though, like we think Isaac's batting 1,000 until now. It's like, well, did he just not take the time to, like his father did, to find him a nice wife? Or is this kid really just a troublemaker and he was like, no, I'm not listening to you. I'm going to get 2 wives and they're going to be Canaanites. Bye. Frick her.
I think they knew from the get-go that this redheaded retard was go pull a stunt like this. It's like, yeah, we're going to go get two of them Hittites.
Oh.
And them Hittite hoes.
Yeah. He probably got like 3 eyeballs. Inbred.
Nah, they're probably baddies. He probably got lusted into them. Yeah.
Anyway,
Judith and
troublemaker.
Basemath. Yeah, because they said they were the grief of mine to Isaac and Rebekah. Or they're just some heifers.
Who knows?
Yeah. But it's definitely because they came from that other group of people that we don't like.
Yeah.
Ungodly people. They're not the chosen godly group. So, I think we dug into it. What do you think's valuable here to take away?
I think as he was searching for his water, like Isaac never like focused on how he was like mistreated, because he was kind of mistreated by them. Um
Yeah.
they're filling up his wells and whatever, and he never responded poorly. He just kept moving. And I think that's a good example to set for anybody of all ages. Just kind of not focusing on that, because then you can really make yourself like a victim of like everything, and that's not always the best thing. It's a lot more peaceful to just um, do your own thing, and you eventually saw how it worked out for Isaac, and it's a good lesson to take away from.
No, I really like that. Yeah. Don't dwell on things. Because that's true. Like, they weren't the greatest to him, and the king was like came to him and was like, "Yo, bro, you gotta leave." Like he's like, "I didn't do nothing. I was just chilling. I was making cows and stuff."
I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah, he didn't argue with anybody. He just like took the hand he was done. Like, I guess I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And then like he leaves, got everybody shipped out there, and then they come back to him, and like this guy is like so zone. I'm gonna say like a really like Gen Z term. It was who's really in his peace. That when they came to him, they're like, "Bro, why are you here? Like, you don't like me. Why
Yeah.
why'd you come here?"
Yeah, and the whole time, I mean, from the beginning, he could have just like been really butthurt about it, thrown a fit, and then he wouldn't have found where he settled in the end. So, I mean, good example to take.
No, I like that. Yeah, being yeah, just putting your faith in the Lord and don't dwell on anything. Just people hate Isaac, and he's like,
Yeah,
"I'm top G. I'm out here
it's
with
like
my
whatever.
my wife that's so hot. I have to tell people she's my sister.
Yup.
It must be a shame. Can't get over that." Yeah, the part that like stuck out to me was a part I joked about earlier, where he's like, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you." Um, yeah, it's the Lord like being abundantly clear that He's with Isaac, even though things don't look great. Um,
Yeah,
it's really reassuring.
I
So
like that.
yeah, it's shown through in my life. If you ask the Lord to be there for you, He will be, and even when circumstances aren't ideal. Um, because like yeah, if we go back to the top, there's a famine in the land, things don't look good. Isaac's probably thinking about packing up and leaving, but the Lord's like, "No, stay. I'm with you. Things are gonna be all right. I'm gonna take care of you." And they were, and he became prosperous by staying in the land while there was a famine. And unfortunately, that got him kicked out of the land and had to go start all over again. And the Lord's like, "Don't fear. I am with you. I'm here." So yeah, even though things aren't what Isaac had and pictured when he was told that he was of the descendants of Abraham and he's going to be, in the lineage of many nations and have all this land, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's like, I'm with you. I'm taking care of it.
Yeah.
Things are going to be good. In my time, we'll figure it out. And,
Yeah.
like, Isaac's really good about, like, not rushing the Lord. It seems so far. He's been pretty chill about it. Granted, Isaac's timeline's a little bit shorter than Abraham's. Abraham was like, "Oh, I want to have a kid. I want to have a kid. I want to have a kid." And then like 80 years goes by until he
It's
could
fun.
finally have it. So like I don't know. It was Isaac.
Yeah, I think,
Same thing happens, but it was much shorter. But still, he
yeah.
just maintained his faith. And yeah,
Well,
even when
and
you're
with
stuck in a place where you don't see hope, God's still with you.
yeah, I think that also that because we spend a lot of time together, we've been very fortunate to see that in each other's lives too.
See what?
Things that happen. That the Lord's with both of us.
Oh yeah, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So holy moly.
Oh, we're gonna end it right here before you get into
Oh,
the.
you were saying.
No, Elizabeth, I want a nitty gritty example of how the Lord showed himself by your side.
Um, I thought I forgot my lunch. Um, I thought I forgot a part of my lunch, but it was just under the ice pack. The cheese, it was there.
Yeah, her craft single that she puts with her lunch. And by the
Yeah,
grace
so
of God, you saw the
God,
corner of the cheese packet, and she knew the Lord was there.
you shouldn't have let this go on.
Holy moly. Episode
Holy moly.
9, the most anti Semitic one yet.
Yeah, this one's bad.
All right,
Uh,
folks.
all right.